want to thank all of you for coming today. I really wanted to kind of do it this way, really kind of as a little bit more of an informal question and answer and a statement time that I can give to you. One of the things I want to do today, and I want to talk to you about some things first, and then I'll let y'all ask me some questions. I want to recap a week that we have had this week, and talk to you about what has happened. And you know, we have had basically a microcosm of my administration this week, and I'd like to go day by day this week and talk to you about some of the things that we have tried to do as governor and some of the things that we've gotten accomplished. You know, on Monday, we were in Mobile, and that was a major day for Mobile. It was a day that we had been working on for really 5 years. You know, the first month I came into office, I had to go down to Mobile, and I had to be down there when we heard the sad announcement that EADS had lost the tanker project. Mobile and EADS had worked so hard to try to secure that. I really was not a part of that because that happened under Governor Riley's administration, and I was really not a part of that. But I was there and had to be the governor at that time to listen to the announcement by that company and by the people who were going to build it, that EADS was not the winner of that. Julie McGee, who is my revenue commissioner, she reminded me this week, in fact. She said, "Governor, you were the only one that was calm that day. Everyone else, it was like a funeral." And she said, what you said at the podium and what you told us, you said, this is a sad day for Mobile, it's a sad day for Alabama, but what we've got to do is we've got to look forward. And I said, what we're going to work on now is not a contract with tankers. What we're going to be working on now is we're going to build commercial aircraft in the state of Alabama. And you know, on this last Monday, that first commercial aircraft was sold to JetBlue, and they gave them a check, and that company has come full circle now, and now we're producing commercial aircraft in Alabama. So that was Monday, and this is something that we worked hard on. That was my project that I worked with a lot of help from the locals and so many people, but we were the ones that did that and signed the final contract on that. So that was the project that I was very proud of. So that was Monday. Then Tuesday, you know, I worked very hard and have worked very hard to try to get teachers a pay raise in this state. Y'all remember last year that I was the one that stood up and said that we had to work for a teacher pay raise, and then for 2 or 3 years prior to that, we've done the same thing because I felt that the teachers and the support personnel in this state deserved a raise because we had asked so much of them. So on Tuesday, we signed the teacher pay raise, and we also signed the largest education budget this state has ever had, other than 2008, when the economy was at its peak. And the reason we were able to do that at $6.3 billion is the fact that we have more people working today than we have since 2008. When people work, they pay income tax and sales tax and use tax and all the things that support education. So the $6.3 billion budget is the result of what we've been able to accomplish in the state, and that's to bring jobs to the people of Alabama, and we have more people working today since that time in 2008. So that was on Tuesday. Then on Wednesday, I went to Hackleburg. And in Hackleburg, those people in Hackleburg were totally devastated in 2011. April the 27th, 2011, that town was totally wiped out. And as you know, 2/3 of the state of Alabama, the northern 2/3, some of you were not even here during that time, but it was the greatest natural disaster that has ever struck the state of Alabama. And so I went to Hackleburg because Hackleburg was the poster child of what happened all over the upper 2/3 of the state of Alabama, and all the massive destruction. And when I looked at Hackleburg, and when I visited Hackleburg, Hackleburg was no longer in existence. Their only major industry, which was VF or Wrangler, was not coming back. And if they had not come back, Hackleburg would not exist. And so we worked hard for 2 months convincing the people at Wrangler that they needed to come back to Hackleburg. And they did. And they came back. So on Wednesday, I visited that city that really appreciates what we have done for that city and for Alabama during that period of time when there was so much devastation. The new school that I got to visit was fantastic. The school was blown away. I even ate lunch and visited a grocery store, and we take that for granted all the time, but if people have to drive 14 miles to go buy groceries, that is a major problem in a small town like Hackleburg. But what I said that day on Wednesday, and some of you heard me and some of you may have been with me, all of this has to do with people, has to do with the people of Alabama and how they came together and how they cared about each other and how they loved each other. And it just shows the spirit of this state and the resiliency of this state. And so of all the things I'm proudest of, going to Hackleburg and visiting those cities that have really responded and really made such great progress, that day just epitomized that. So, you know, that goes back to 2011, but all the long-term recovery that we put in place was brought to light that day. And of course, we signed an executive order continuing that, and we will continue to try to help the people of this state dealing with other natural disasters that may come along in the future, which obviously there will. Then yesterday, as you know, yesterday was a very, especially in the House and somewhat in the Senate, was somewhat of a contentious day. They worked extremely hard in the House and the Senate, especially in the House. And what I want to do is I want to commend the legislature. We have worked so closely on an issue that has never been worked this closely on before. And that's the issue dealing with our prison system and this massive problem that we have, this decades-old problem that we have in this state. We have worked so closely with the leadership and the committee chairman in the House and the Senate and the governor's office and Jeff Dunn, who is our commissioner of corrections. We have worked so hard together to solve a decades-old problem. We need new facilities. We need to save money. But the thing that's important, and the thing that's touched my heart about all of this, is even though the people that are in prison, even though they're there being punished, even though they're there being separated from society as part of their punishment, these are human beings. And as I visited the prisons across the state, especially at Tutwiler, I realized that these are human beings that we're dealing with every day. And they need to be protected. The women at Tutwiler should not have to fear about being assaulted. The men in the prisons should not worry about being stabbed and assaulted. We have to protect them as we are in the process of correcting them. It is a Department of Corrections. And with last year's bill that was passed, which was our prison reform bill, and we put that in place with what we hope will be the finished product when the Senate meets on Tuesday, of a very major accomplishment, a solution to a decades-old problem that will help solve this problem dealing with our incarcerated individuals. It will be something that will be solved, I think, for the next 30 to 50 years. Now, we have to put a lot of other things in place, and we're trying to do that. We want to keep more people out of prison, especially for minor offenses. And those that are in prison, we want to make sure that they're trained adequately, that when they get out, that they can get a job, they can become productive citizens, and that's our goal. But you know, when I've gone to Tutwiler, one of the things that touches me is, obviously it's an all-women's prison. So many of those prisoners there are mothers. They're mothers. And you know, they have children. And they need to be, you need to be able to visit. Children and parents need to be able to visit. And they need to stay connected, because most of those women will get out. And we don't want those children to always remember their mother that was there in prison in a situation where they are right now. And so we need to help train them. We need to have better relationships with families, because it is a Department of Corrections, and the only way that we're going to solve the problems that we have in this state today is to help train people, help them in a spiritual way, help them emotionally, help them be prepared to get out in society, whether it's learning how to operate a checkbook, help them when they get out to get a driver's license and a social security number, and help them prepare for real life outside of prison. So this was a major day yesterday, and we have really been working hard on this. You know, some people don't really care about those who are incarcerated. They say that they deserve what they're getting. Well, they're being separated from society, but they don't deserve some of the things that they're going through right now. And we need to solve this, and we are solving it. And I truly believe that we are very close to solving one of the most major problems, and probably the most major problem that's ever been tackled by a governor in the last 50 years. And I believe that with the help of this legislature that I'm so proud of, and the relationship that we have had working together, I believe that we're going to solve this issue. Today, we're going to Scottsboro this afternoon. And we're going to be opening an interchange. And even though it's not part of our A-Trip program, it will connect to some of the areas that is related to our A-Trip program. I started in 2011 a program to put $1 billion into roads and bridges across the state, the largest road and bridge projects program that has ever happened in the state of Alabama. And I'm very proud of that. It's helping people. Everything that we have tried to do, and this week shows that. What we've tried to do this week is to try to help the people of the state of Alabama. And I'm very proud of what we've done this week. And we're making very good progress. So I appreciate y'all being with us, and I'll answer what questions that, at least not every question, but I will answer some. All right, Mary?
Can I ask a multi-part prisons question?
Okay.
There was an amendment added in the House yesterday that said that any plans would have to come back to the lawmakers for approval. Can you comment on that? And also, what's the final price tag on this? We hear $800 million, but then some folks are saying with $1.5 billion. What's the price tag?
Okay, let me answer the first question. We will be working on that amendment, and we will see how the Senate handles that when it goes up to the Senate. Obviously, that was not something that would help us right now, but we'll be working on that, and the Senate will be working on that when it goes up there. The price tag.
So you're not in favor of that amendment?
No, I think it slows us down, and we're trying to expedite this because we've got real problems out there. As you know, Some of you have visited with me at Holman Prison and some of the other prisons. Maybe you went with us to Tutwiler. You know that there are problems out there that we need to get these problems solved, and the more we delay it, the more problems we're going to have. So we would like to get that taken care of before the final bill comes out. The other question you asked was the price tag. We feel very confident that we can do this with $800 million or less, and we also feel very confident not only from our numbers from our Department of Corrections, but the numbers that also have been given to us by Legislative Fiscal Office. Their numbers were actually better than what we presented. So we certainly believe with the efficiencies that will be put in place that we will be able to pay for these prisons, these new prisons that will be built. We'll be able to pay for those, and we'll pay for the bond issue that it will take to build them. But things have to be put in place as in the bill. For instance, the design build part for the 3 men prisons has to be in place. And in order to do that, that's the only way we're going to be able to build Tutwiler. And I told my people when they brought just the 3 men prisons that I would not even consider doing 3 men prisons unless we did the female prison. And that's what we're going to do.
Governor, today, or this week rather, there were some big accomplishments, and the legislature contentiously moving forward with the prisons bill, very big, very important issue to you.
Right.
At the same time, more lawmakers signed on to an impeachment resolution citing willful neglect and corruption. They say that you abdicated responsibility to Rebecca Mason. Are you worried about this, and what's your response to them?
I have already actually responded to that on 2 or 3 occasions, and I'm really not going to respond to that.
What can you say to the public in Alabama, the voters that elected you, to assure them that this investigation that's going to proceed will not unveil any evidence that will prevent you from finishing your term in this office by the end of 2018?
Well, first, let me say I'm not going to continue down this path really on this, except I do want to say this, and that's a good question. I just want to assure the people of Alabama that they should have no concern about what I've done. I have done nothing, absolutely nothing, that is illegal or unethical. That will be brought out in time. They do not have to worry about that.
Governor, do you
Governor,
plan
there's still
to?
growing momentum in the House with 23 lawmakers now signing
No,
on.
okay, we will, okay. I'm sorry, I'm not being disrespectful. What I want to say is, I've already commented on that. I want to talk about the good things. Look, I'm here as the governor of this state for the people. That's all. That's the only reason I'm here. I don't take a salary. I don't do anything except every day work hard to try to better the lives of the people of this state. And so that's what I'm going to continue to do, and that's what we're talking about today. If you look at what I have laid out right now, you know, what we have done and what we've been able to accomplish, I think what it shows is that we have not neglected our duty. We've accomplished more as the governor of the state of Alabama than, I'm not going to say any governor ever, but I can tell you there are so many accomplishments if people will just look at it. But it's all about people. That's the only reason I'm here. I have no other goal in life but to serve the people of Alabama that I love. And I'm going to continue to do that. I'm going to continue to work hard. There are distractions, obviously. There are distractions. But you know, there's no easy things in life. And if you're going to do hard things, then you have to put some of these things to the side, and you have to work and go forward and do the things that I believe that God put me here to do, and that's to make the lives of the people of this state better. And so that's what I'm going to continue to do. You know, in 1961, there was a young president. He said, we're not going to do things because they're easy. We're going to do things because they're hard. Things are hard, and you have distractions. But I want the people of Alabama to realize, and I want them to believe this, and they have believed it in me, that I'm here to help people. I want children educated. I want people in this state to have a job. I want them to be able to feed their families. I want Alabama to be number one in so many things. We're not number one in a lot of things, like public health and things like this. And I want us to be number one. I want us to be the best in education. I want us to have jobs for everybody that wants a job, and have advanced manufacturing and things like this that we've worked on and we've been able to do because of the things that we put in place. So I just want to assure the people of Alabama that, first of all, I love them. I love them. And I love this state. And even distractions that come around us all the time, that is not going to keep me from carrying out the purpose that I believe God put me here to do. And that's to do this job well, and to do it in a way that it glorifies Him, but also to do it in a way that it helps the people of this state. Helping neighbors and helping people is why we're here.
Okay, Governor, Mary has another question
All right, Mary.
on the legislation.
Big issue next week is the BP settlement.
Right.
What came out of the House would give $70 million, or free up $70 million for Medicaid. Takes money away from road projects around the rest of the state except for Mobile and Baldwin counties. Where do you stand on that?
Well, actually, I think it's a good bill. I do, because what it will do, it will bring forward now money that it's going to take us 18 years to get. Let me say this. That negotiation, I was part of that negotiation. I was, because I held the line, we were able to get $1 billion for the state of Alabama. And if we bring it forward now, we would not get $1 billion, but you could float a bond issue that you could probably get $700 million. But I also want to pay off debts. And I know we're incurring some debts with the prison system, but I want to pay off the rainy day fund for the general fund, which is $161.6 million, because constitutionally that has to be paid off by 2020. In good conscience, I cannot leave $161 million for the next governor. I can't do that. And I can't leave that for that next legislature, that next quadrennium. I want to get that paid off. So I believe in bringing that money forward. Let's pay off that debt, and let's pay off as much of the of that debt out of the Alabama Trust Fund, where we borrowed $437 million in 2012, 13, and 14, so that we could just keep the general fund operating. So I want to pay off as much of that as we can. Then there will be some money left over, and the projects in South Alabama are good projects, and so I'm very much for that. I think Representative Klaus brought that. I think it will give the people of Baldwin and Mobile County some extra money to do some of the projects down there that will really help that area. Now, they also are already getting $50 million, because the first $50 million is going to the Gulf States Park, where we're building the convention center.
What happens to Medicaid if
Medicaid,
this bill doesn't pass?
Well, they have already presented me with a budget, and I know what it is. We're going to make it work. We're going to make it work. And we're going to do everything we can to set up the RCO program, the Regional Care Organization program that we've been working on for nearly 3 years. We secured from the federal government $748 million. And I don't want to have to give that back, because I want us to be able to use that money to institute the RCO programs across the state. We're going to make that work.
So it doesn't need the $70 million?
We need it. We need it. But if we don't get it, I'm still going to make it work.
If Klaus's bill doesn't pass, have you identified which of Commissioner Azar's cuts might be made?
I have not specifically. We will be looking at those, but there are, the economy is doing well, and, there are some revenues that we think that we will be able to get because of the great job that our revenue commissioner is doing in collecting the internet sales taxes that already are owed to us. So we're working on that right now, and we get 75% of that going into the general fund. So I don't know exactly how much we will have there, but I just feel like that we can do the things necessary to still set up the regional care organizations. It is so important that we do that. Now, CMS will have to say, yes, y'all can do it, but I believe we can do it. Now, maybe I'm more optimistic than some, but I believe we can do it.
Might not ever-
Governor, you guys are obviously working so hard on so many of your platform issues, plowing forward through just a storm of controversy too. What have the last 12 months been like for you, just emotionally? And also, what, if any, regrets do you have? What would be your biggest regret?
You know, it has been difficult. You know, I've had a difficult 12 months. The state's had a difficult 12 months. It's not just me. It's the whole state. And I think that first I'd like to say to the people of Alabama, I still want them to believe that they can trust me. With time, they're going to see that. And I do have so many supporters out there right now. I mean, but, you know, no one wishes that they have to go through difficult times. No one wants that. I don't want that, and you don't want that in your life. There's no one out there that's watching today that wants to go through domestic problems or problems with their children or problems with anything. You know, no one wants to go through that. But, you know, one of the things that, you know, I've been a Christian since I was 11 years old. I've taught Bible school and Sunday school for many, many, many years. And one of my favorite books in the Bible is the book of James. And it talks about that when you go through trials and you go through difficulties, that you have to take advantage of that because they can make you stronger. Now, they can tear you apart and make you bitter, but they can also make you stronger if you allow them to do that. And so I don't want difficult times to come my way, but I have to rise above many of those difficult times. And what I have to do is I have to say, how can I learn from those difficult times, and how can that make me stronger? Because I'm not going to give up. You know, I'm not going to stop doing the job that I truly believe that I was placed here to do. I truly believe that. And so, yes, they've been difficult, but we have to learn from our difficult times, and we have to let God use those difficult times. And even though He doesn't want these things to take place, He can use those and put them together and kind of mold us all together and help us to fulfill the purpose that I believe that I was placed here to do.
Okay, Governor, we have time for one more question, and Steve's had his hand up
Thank
for a
you.
while.
Thanks. Can you talk about how the wall got extended around the governor's mansion? A lot of people in Baldwin County are talking about that, and, you know, what's gonna happen with it, take it down, or where do we go from here?
Well, you know, I think one headline I saw that it said the governor builds a wall. Well, you know, I really haven't had much time to build walls, and if you look at my hands, obviously I haven't been out there as a masonry worker, but there has been some confusion about the lots and the lines and that part right there that has never been used, that right of way that has never been used for anything because it can't be used. It's all grown up and no one has ever used it. But we're working on that, and I'm sending down next week Franklin Johnson, who's in my legal department. He's been working with that, and we'll be working with the Homeowners Association, and we will work with the county commission. We will get all this worked out. It's not a serious problem. Some people want to make it that, but it's really not.
Okay, thank you, Governor.
Will you be at State
We
Auditor
don't
Jim
have any more
Ziegler's
time.
press conference?
No, I will not.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Governor.
All right, thank you,
Do we have a
guys.
special session?
Special session. No, we really don't have any plans for a special session right now. We will work through the, we know what the education budget is. We know what the general fund budget is. And as I say, I'm going to work with what I have in the general fund budget. Now, I'm not ruling it out completely, but obviously I have that option. But I'm going to do the best I can to make things work right now.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, thank you,
Governor.
guys.